Someone can be terrified of losing you and still not be ready to marry you. They can miss you every night, make dua for you, talk about a future with you, and whisper, "I want nikah with you." And the hardest part, they may mean every word, because wanting you is a feeling, but being ready for you requires something much deeper: character, responsibility, sacrifice, taqwa. So stop asking only, "Do they really want me?" Ask the question that could save you years of waiting. If they want me so badly, what are they actually doing to become ready for nikah? Because there are 5 things that reveal what words never can. And the final one may completely change how you see this person. Stay until the end and subscribe to Deenpedia for Islamic reminders that protect your heart without giving you false hope. 1. They may want your heart, but nikah reveals whether they can carry its responsibility. There is something powerful about knowing that someone wants you. When someone cares about you deeply, your heart naturally starts thinking about the future. You notice the little things, the way they talk to you, the way they remember small details about you, the way they notice when you become quiet, the way they seem afraid of losing you, the way marriage suddenly enters the conversation, and slowly, without even realizing it, you begin building a future inside your mind. Maybe this is my person. Maybe Allah brought them into my life for a reason. Maybe these feelings mean we are supposed to end up together. But this is where you have to be careful. Someone wanting you does not automatically mean they are ready for you, and someone loving you does not automatically mean they are ready for nikah. Because feelings tell you what is inside someone's heart. Marriage reveals what is inside their character. Nikah asks much more than, "Do you love this person?" It asks, "Can you treat them well when you are angry? Can you tell the truth when the truth is difficult? Can you keep your promises when keeping them becomes hard? Can you admit when you are wrong? Can you control your words during an argument? Can you protect their private matters? Can you control your desires when nobody is watching? Can you stay loyal when temptation comes? Can you carry responsibility when life becomes stressful? And most importantly, can your fear and love of Allah guide you when your emotions become difficult? These are not romantic questions, but these are the questions that matter after the wedding. Someone can tell you, "I think about you all the time." That sounds beautiful, but nikah asks something deeper. Will you think about my rights when your own needs are pulling at you? Someone can say, "I cannot imagine losing you." But marriage asks, are you becoming the kind of person who knows how to keep a marriage healthy? Someone can say, "I would do anything for you." But real life eventually asks, will you still show up when what I need from you is small, difficult, and unnoticed? Because marriage is usually not damaged in one huge moment. Sometimes it becomes weaker through small things repeated again and again, a promise that keeps getting broken, an apology that never comes, a lie that seems small, a boundary that keeps being crossed, anger that is never controlled, problems that are always ignored, responsibilities that are always pushed to tomorrow. At the beginning, these things can look small. You may even tell yourself, "It is okay. They will change. Marriage will make them more serious." But marriage does not magically change someone's character. A wedding does not suddenly teach patience. A ring does not remove anger. Living together does not automatically create responsibility. In fact, marriage often brings hidden problems closer. That is why you should look beyond how someone treats you during the beautiful moments. Look at who they are becoming. Because when you marry someone, you are not only bringing their love into your home, you are bringing their character. Their patience will enter your home, but their anger will enter too. Their kindness will enter, but their selfish habits may enter too. Their faith will enter. Their discipline will enter. Their fears will enter. Their wounds will enter. Their habits will enter. The things they have worked on will enter. And the things they keep refusing to work on will enter too. This is why character matters more than beautiful promises. Anyone can say, "I want a future with you." The deeper question is, are they preparing themselves for that future? Watch carefully. Since they started talking about marriage, Have they become more serious, more responsible, more honest, more respectful, more careful with your heart, more careful with Allah's limits? Are they fixing the parts of themselves they know could hurt a marriage? Or are they still the same person, making the same promises, repeating the same mistakes, and asking you to keep waiting? That difference matters, because mature love does not only say, "Please don't leave me." Mature love begins saying, "If Allah allows me to marry you, I want to become someone who knows how to treat you properly." That is a different kind of love. It is no longer only about having you, it is about being ready for you. And maybe this is the question you should remember. Do not only look at how badly someone wants you. Look at what wanting you is making them do. Is it making them grow? Is it making them take responsibility? Is it making them move closer to Allah? Is it making them protect your dignity? Is it making them prepare for a real marriage? Because anyone can want your heart. But Nikah asks whether they are ready to take care of that heart once it is placed in their hands. And that is where wanting you finally begins becoming readiness. 2. Real intention doesn't keep you guessing. It slowly turns confusion into direction. One of the hardest places for your heart to live is between two questions. They want me, but are they actually choosing me? Because someone can care about you and still leave you confused. They talk about marriage. They mention a future. They tell you that you are important to them. Sometimes they even say, "I can see myself marrying you." And for a moment, everything feels clear. Then something changes. They become distant. The marriage conversations disappear. Their effort becomes weaker. You begin wondering if you said something wrong. Then, just when you start pulling away, they come close again. They tell you they miss you. They remind you how much you mean to them. Maybe they even bring up Nikah again, so your hope returns. You think, maybe this time they are serious. But weeks pass, then months, and you are still standing in the same place. This is where you need to understand something important. Someone being unsure for a short time does not make them a bad person. Marriage is a serious decision. People need time to think. There can be real problems. Maybe money is difficult. Maybe their family situation is complicated. Maybe they are still studying. Maybe their work is unstable. Maybe there are things they genuinely need to prepare before marriage becomes possible. All of that can be real, but needing time is different from wasting your time. A serious person may not be ready to marry you tomorrow, but over time, they should be able to give you something very important: direction. They should be able to say, "This is what I want. This is what is stopping me right now. This is what I am doing about it. This is the next step I am trying to take." That does not mean every plan will happen perfectly. Only Allah knows what tomorrow holds. Plans change, problems appear, doors open and close, but when someone is serious, you should slowly begin seeing movement. Maybe they start saving money. Maybe they begin talking to their family. Maybe they ask the important questions that need to be asked before marriage. Maybe they become more serious about their work. Maybe they start fixing habits they know could damage a future marriage. Maybe they become more careful about keeping the relationship within the limits Allah has set. Something begins moving, because serious intention does not live forever inside words. Eventually, it looks for a path. This is why you should be careful with someone who gives you hope, but never gives you direction. Every conversation sounds beautiful, but nothing changes. They say, "Just give me more time." So you do. Later you ask again. They say, "Why are you putting pressure on me?" So you become quiet. Months later, you ask where this is going. They tell you, "Trust Allah. If it is meant to happen, it will happen." Yes, we trust Allah. But trusting Allah does not mean refusing to take responsibility. Tawakkul is not an excuse for endless delay. Dua is not a replacement for action. And saying inshallah should never become a way to keep someone's heart waiting without a clear reason. If you truly want something halal, at some point you have to begin moving toward it in a halal way. Maybe slowly, maybe carefully, but you move. There is another pattern you should watch very closely. Notice what happens when they feel that they might lose you. Maybe you become tired of waiting. You stop messaging as much. You stop asking for answers. You begin protecting your heart. Suddenly they change. Now they are calling. Now they are worried. Now they want to talk about the future. Now they tell you, please don't give up on us. And because you care about them, your heart softens again. You stay. Then once they feel sure that you are not leaving, the effort slowly disappears. The future becomes unclear again. The promises become quiet again. And you find yourself waiting again. Be careful. Someone being afraid of losing you does not always mean they are ready to marry you. Sometimes they are afraid of losing your attention. Sometimes they are afraid of losing the person who understands them. Sometimes they are afraid of seeing you move on. Sometimes they want you emotionally close, even though they are not prepared to take responsibility for your future. They may not even realize they are doing this. They may genuinely care about you, but you still have to look at the pattern, because your heart cannot live forever on someone's potential. You need more than one day. You need to see whether one day is slowly becoming something real. And this does not mean forcing someone into marriage. Never pressure someone to choose you. A marriage built from pressure is not what you should want. You want someone who reaches clarity because they understand what they are choosing. Someone who can look at the responsibility honestly and still say, I want to move toward this properly. There is peace in that kind of seriousness, not because every problem has disappeared, but because you no longer have to decode everything. You do not have to study every message. You do not have to wonder why they were warm yesterday and cold today. You do not have to turn every small sign into proof that they still want you. You begin knowing where you stand, and that matters, because someone who respects your heart should care about the confusion they create inside it. If they need time, they should be honest about why. If something has changed, they should tell you. If they cannot move toward marriage, they should have the courage to say that too. Sometimes the kindest answer is not the answer your heart wants. Sometimes clarity hurts, but endless confusion can hurt much longer. That is why maturity is not only having the courage to say, I want you. Sometimes maturity is having the courage to say, I am not ready. And sometimes it is saying, I am serious, and here is how I am preparing. Both are more respectful than keeping someone emotionally attached to a future you are doing nothing to build. So when you are trying to understand whether someone is ready for Nikah, stop listening only to the strength of their promises. Watch the direction of their life. Are their actions slowly moving closer to what they keep saying? Are they taking small but real steps? Are difficult conversations becoming clearer? Are they willing to involve the right people when the time comes? Are they preparing themselves for responsibility, or does everything return to the same place after every emotional conversation? Because real intention does something beautiful. It slowly turns, maybe someday, into, this is what I am doing now. It turns feelings into direction, direction into preparation, and preparation into real steps. You do not need someone who can promise you the entire future. Only Allah knows the future. But you do need someone whose actions are moving in the same direction as their words. Because the person truly becoming ready for Nikah will not only tell you that they do not want to lose you. Over time, they will begin showing you that they are willing to take responsibility for choosing you. And when words and actions finally begin walking in the same direction, confusion starts losing its place. 3. When Nikah starts costing them something, you discover how serious they really are. It is easy to want someone when wanting them costs you nothing. It is easy to say, I want to marry you. It is easy to imagine a home together, to talk about the future, to picture beautiful moments, to promise that one day everything will work out. But there comes a point when marriage stops being a beautiful idea. It starts asking something from you. And that is when you begin discovering how serious someone really is. Maybe they need to speak to their family. Maybe they need to start saving money. Maybe they need to become more serious about work. Maybe they need to leave certain habits behind. Maybe they need to stop talking to other people in ways that would damage trust. Maybe they need to control their anger. Maybe they need to become more responsible with money. Maybe they need to respect stronger boundaries before Nikah. Maybe they simply need to grow up. Suddenly, saying "I want you" is no longer enough. Now there is a cost. And what someone does when that cost appears can tell you more than 100 beautiful promises. Because real commitment is not only about what someone wants, it is also about what they are willing to change. A person may truly want marriage, but they may still want their old life more. They want you, but they do not want to change the habits that could hurt you. They want marriage, but they do not want the responsibility that comes with it. They want your loyalty, but they do not want to become disciplined enough to protect their own loyalty. They want your patience, but they refuse to work on their anger. They want you to understand their weaknesses, but they become angry when you ask them to understand yours. They want a peaceful home, but they are doing nothing about the chaos they carry inside themselves. This is where you have to stop listening only to what someone says they want. Watch what they are willing to work on, because marriage does not magically fix someone's character. Nikah can give two people a beautiful halal beginning, but it does not automatically remove selfishness. It does not automatically create patience. It does not automatically teach someone how to communicate. It does not automatically remove bad habits. And it does not turn an irresponsible person into a responsible spouse overnight. The person they are becoming before marriage matters. This does not mean they need to be perfect. You are not looking for perfection. You will not be perfect either. Everyone enters marriage with weaknesses. Everyone has things to learn. Everyone has parts of themselves that still need work. The question is not, do they have weaknesses? The better question is, what do they do when they discover those weaknesses? Do they make excuses, or do they work on them? Do they say, "This is just how I am"? Or do they say, "I know this could hurt my marriage, so I need to change it"? That difference is powerful, because someone ready for Nikah understands that love is not only finding the right person, it is also becoming safer for the person you hope to marry. And sometimes that requires sacrifice. Not the dramatic sacrifice you see in movies. Quiet sacrifice, the kind nobody applauds. Waking up and going to work when you do not feel like it, because you are trying to build stability. Saving money instead of spending everything, because you are thinking about a future family. Learning to control your tongue, because you know angry words can stay inside someone's heart for years. Walking away from temptation because loyalty begins before the wedding day. Learning how to apologize, because you know your ego cannot be the leader of your marriage. Becoming more serious about Salah, because you understand that you cannot ask Allah to bless a home while constantly ignoring Him. These changes may look small from the outside, but they reveal something important. This person is not only dreaming about marriage, they are preparing themselves for it. And one of the strongest places this seriousness appears is in boundaries. Sometimes people think, if they really love me, they will want to talk to me all the time. If they really want me, they will never create distance. But sometimes seriousness does the opposite. Sometimes a person becomes more careful because they want something halal. They begin thinking, if I truly care about this person, I should not pull them further into something that may displease Allah. That can mean changing the way you communicate. It can mean involving family when appropriate. It can mean stopping things you both know are crossing limits. It can mean giving up some emotional comfort now because you want barakah later. And that is not always easy, because sometimes the wrong way feels easier. You get the closeness without the responsibility, the emotional support without the commitment, the feeling of having someone without actually building a halal future with them. But someone serious about Nikah eventually has to ask, are we protecting this connection, or are we simply enjoying it? That question can hurt, but it can also save you. Because if someone says they want to marry you but constantly asks you to compromise your deen to keep them happy, something is wrong. If they care about you, they should care about your relationship with Allah too. They should not want to become the reason you feel farther from Him. Real love should not make sin feel necessary to keep someone. And if making the relationship more halal means giving something up, seriousness will eventually become willing to pay that price. Because what is the point of asking Allah to bless a future while refusing to respect Him in the present? This is where you begin seeing the difference between someone who wants you and someone who is preparing for you. The first person keeps talking about what they feel. The second begins working on what they need to become. The first says, "Trust me, I love you." The second understands that trust must be built. The first talks endlessly about the wedding. The second thinks about the marriage that comes after it. The first wants to know, how can I keep this person in my life? The second asks, how can I build a life where this person feels respected, safe, and closer to Allah? That is a much deeper kind of intention. So do not only watch how someone behaves when everything is easy. Watch them when marriage begins asking for effort, when they have to wait, when they have to save, when they have to change, when they have to hear something uncomfortable about themselves, when they have to give up something they enjoy, when they have to choose what is right over what feels good. That is where seriousness becomes visible, because anyone can want you when wanting you feels beautiful. But when wanting you requires discipline, patience, responsibility, and sacrifice, you discover what their words are really worth. And remember this: the greatest sacrifice is not someone destroying themselves for you. That is not what healthy love asks. The deeper sacrifice is someone being willing to leave behind the parts of themselves that could one day destroy the marriage they keep asking Allah for. Their pride, their careless habits, their dishonesty, their lack of discipline, their refusal to communicate, their unhealthy attachment to temptation, their habit of running whenever life becomes difficult. That is growth. That is preparation. And sometimes that is one of the quietest signs that someone's feelings are becoming serious, because the person ready for Nikah does not only say, "I want you in my future." They begin asking themselves, what needs to change in me before I can build that future with you? And when a person begins answering that question with real action, their love is no longer living only in words. It is beginning to carry responsibility. 4. Don't judge their love by the beautiful moments. Watch their character when things get hard. It is easy to love someone when everything feels good, when the conversations are warm, when both of you are excited, when nobody is angry, when nobody feels rejected, when there is nothing serious to disagree about. In those moments, almost anyone can look ready for marriage. They can be gentle, patient, understanding. They can tell you, "I will always be there for you. I would never hurt you. We will solve everything together." And maybe they truly believe those words when they say them. But marriage is not built only from beautiful moments. Sooner or later, life will place pressure on both of you. And pressure reveals things that attraction can hide. That is why, before asking how someone treats you when they are happy with you, pay attention to how they treat you when they are unhappy with you. Because that person may one day be your spouse too. Maybe you disagree with them. Maybe you tell them something they do not want to hear. Maybe you say no. Maybe you set a boundary. Maybe you tell them, "What you did hurt me." Maybe you question something they believe they did right. Now watch carefully. What happens to their kindness? What happens to their respect? What happens to their words? What happens to their fear of Allah? Do they suddenly become someone completely different? Do they insult you? Do they disappear for days just to punish you? Do they make you feel guilty for speaking honestly? Do they bring up your old mistakes? Do they use something private you once told them against you? Do they threaten to leave every time you disagree? Do they make you feel afraid to say what you really think? Or can they remain respectful, even while they are upset? This matters more than many people realize, because you are not looking for someone who never gets angry. Everyone gets angry. You are looking at what happens to their character when anger arrives. Anyone can say beautiful things when they feel loved, but what does their tongue say when their ego feels hurt? Anyone can promise to protect your heart, but what happens when they have the power to hurt it? Anyone can tell you they respect you, but does that respect survive disagreement? That is where character becomes visible. And character matters because marriage will not always feel romantic. There will be normal days, tired days, stressful days. There may be bills to pay, work problems, family pressure, lack of sleep, misunderstandings, different opinions, moments when one of you wants to talk and the other needs space, moments when you both believe you are right, moments when one person makes a mistake that genuinely hurts the other. There may even be seasons when one of you is carrying something heavy and cannot give the same energy you once gave. That is real life. The person you marry will not only meet the happiest version of you, they may meet you when you are tired, worried, disappointed, overwhelmed, quiet, afraid, and you will meet those versions of them too. That is why you need more than chemistry. You need character. Chemistry can make two people want each other. Character teaches them how not to destroy each other. When life becomes difficult, look closely at how someone handles being wrong. This tells you a lot. Can they say, "I was wrong"? Can they say, "I am sorry"? Can they say, "I understand why that hurt you"? Can they say, "I need to work on this"? Simple words, but for someone controlled by ego, these words can feel almost impossible. Instead, every problem becomes an argument they must win. If they hurt you, they explain why you deserved it. If they make a mistake, they find something you did wrong too. If you express pain, suddenly they become the victim, and somehow you end up apologizing for being hurt. Be careful with that pattern, because marriage cannot become a competition where one person must always win. If one person always has to win, the marriage slowly loses. Sometimes protecting a marriage means being willing to lose an argument so that both people can reach the truth, not because your voice does not matter, but because truth matters more than ego. This is where emotional maturity becomes important. A mature person can hear, "You hurt me," without immediately hearing, "You are a terrible person." They can separate correction from rejection. They can listen before defending themselves. They can think, "Maybe there is something here I need to understand." That does not mean they will always agree with you. Marriage does not require two people to agree about everything. You will have different opinions, different habits, different ways of seeing certain situations. The question is whether you can disagree without becoming enemies. Can they be upset with you and still protect your dignity? Can they be angry without becoming cruel? Can they need space without using silence as a weapon? Can they correct you without humiliating you? Can they hear criticism without attacking your weakest places? That is strength. Not shouting louder, not winning every argument, not making the other person afraid. Real strength is having enough control over yourself that anger does not decide who you become. And this is where faith becomes deeply important, because there may be moments in marriage when your spouse cannot stop you from doing something wrong, but your awareness of Allah should. There may be words you could say that would deeply hurt them. Nobody else would hear those words. Allah would. There may be private weaknesses you know about your spouse that you could use during an argument. Nobody else may know. Allah knows. There may be moments when you could be unfair and still convince everyone that you were right. Allah knows the truth. That awareness changes how a person handles conflict. Taqwa does not mean a person never gets angry. It means even in anger they remember there are lines they should not cross. And this is one reason you should pay attention to someone's relationship with Allah before marriage. Not only what they say about religion. Watch what their faith produces in their behavior. Does it make them more humble, more honest, more careful with people's hearts, more willing to admit mistakes, more afraid of being unjust? Because religious words are easy, character is harder. Someone can speak beautifully about Islam and still treat people badly. What matters is whether faith reaches their behavior, especially when emotions become difficult. And remember, you should ask these questions about yourself too. How do you behave when someone disappoints you? Do you become cruel? Do you shut down? Do you punish people with silence? Do you bring up things they trusted you with? Do you refuse to apologize because you are afraid it makes you look weak? Marriage preparation is not only about finding red flags in another person. It is also about noticing what you need to fix inside yourself. Because both people bring their habits into marriage. Both people bring their communication. Both bring their wounds. Both bring their ego, and both have a responsibility to grow. So do not search for someone perfect. Search for someone teachable. Someone who can reflect. Someone who can say, I need to become better. And then actually tries, because mistakes can be repaired when humility is present. But when ego controls everything, even small problems can become very heavy. This is why you should not judge someone's readiness for nikah only by their best moments. Almost everyone looks good when they are getting what they want. Watch what happens when they do not get what they want. Watch what happens when you disagree. Watch what happens when they are stressed. Watch what happens when they are corrected. Watch what happens when they have the chance to hurt you back. That is where you begin meeting the person beneath the feelings. Because the person who says, I love you, when everything is beautiful, may be sincere. But the person who can still say, I am angry, but I will not disrespect you, is showing you something deeper. Self-control, respect, maturity, taqwa, and those qualities matter when building a home, because one day the flowers may disappear, the long conversations may become shorter, the excitement of something new may settle into normal life, but character will still wake up beside you every morning. So before you ask whether someone loves you enough for nikah, ask, when life becomes difficult, is their character strong enough to protect that love? Because beautiful moments can show you someone's feelings, but difficult moments often show you the person you may actually be marrying. 5. The one ready for nikah doesn't just fear losing you. They fear answering to Allah for how they treat you. There is a question deeper than, do they love me? Deeper than, do they want to marry me? And even deeper than, are they afraid of losing me? Ask yourself, do they understand what it means to be responsible before Allah for the way they treat another person's heart? Because nikah is not simply about finally getting the person you wanted. It is an amana, a trust. When someone becomes your spouse, they are not an object you own. They are a human being Allah created. They have feelings, weaknesses, fears, dreams, private struggles, parts of themselves they may eventually trust only you enough to see. And marriage gives you access to places inside another person's life that most people will never enter. You may learn what makes them afraid, what makes them feel insecure, what happened to them before they met you, what they struggle to forgive themselves for, what they cry about when nobody else knows. You may eventually know their weakest places, and that knowledge gives you a choice. You can protect those places, or you can use them as weapons. That is why marriage needs more than love. It needs taqwa, because there may come a moment when your spouse cannot stop you from hurting them, but your fear of Allah should. There may be a moment when nobody would know that you lied. Allah would know. There may be a moment when you could hide something. Allah would know. There may be a moment when you could betray their trust and perhaps never be caught. Allah would still know. There may be an argument where you know exactly what sentence would break their heart. You could say it, you could win the argument, you could leave them silent, but someone who fears Allah remembers. Winning an argument is not worth becoming unjust. That is a different level of readiness, because many people are careful with someone while they are trying to get them. The real question is, will they still be careful with that heart after they know it belongs beside them? Before marriage, they may be afraid you will walk away, so they watch their words. They make effort. They listen. They apologize. They show their best side. But after nikah, something changes. Now you are there. Now leaving is harder. Now life is shared. Now the relationship feels secure. And this is where true character becomes important. Will they continue treating you well when they no longer feel they have to impress you? Will they continue respecting you when nobody is watching? Will they still listen when the conversation is not exciting? Will they still protect your dignity after seeing your weaknesses? Will they still choose kindness when marriage becomes ordinary? Because being afraid of losing someone can make a person behave well for a while, but fear of Allah can make someone behave well even when there is nothing immediate to gain. That is why you should not only look for someone obsessed with keeping you, look for someone serious about answering to Allah, someone who understands, if Allah gives me this person, I must be careful with this trust. That does not mean they will never make mistakes. They will. So will you. There may be arguments, misunderstandings, days when one of you says something badly, moments when patience becomes weak. Marriage is between human beings, not angels. The difference is what happens afterward. Does their heart soften? Can they admit, I was wrong? Do they try to repair what they damaged? Do they ask Allah for forgiveness when they know they have been unfair? Do they make a real effort not to repeat the same hurt again? Because a person with taqwa does not need to believe they are perfect. They need to understand that they are accountable. That awareness is powerful. It changes marriage from, what can I get from you, into, what has Allah asked from me in the way I treat you? And there is another side to this lesson that you cannot ignore. While you are asking whether they are ready for Nikah, you also have to ask whether you are ready. This can be uncomfortable. It is much easier to examine someone else's character, to notice their weaknesses, to ask whether they are mature enough, to wonder whether they can become a good husband or wife. But marriage will not only reveal them, it will reveal you too. So ask yourself, am I ready to carry someone's heart responsibly? Maybe you are praying for someone patient. But what happens when you become angry? Maybe you want someone who communicates clearly. But do you communicate when something hurts you? Or do you expect people to guess? Maybe you want someone loyal. But are you protecting your own heart and eyes from things that could damage loyalty? Maybe you want someone who admits when they are wrong. But how difficult is it for you to say, I am sorry? Maybe you want someone who will protect your weaknesses. But when someone hurts you, do you expose theirs? Maybe you want a spouse who brings you closer to Allah. But ask yourself, would your presence bring a spouse closer to Allah? That question can change the way you prepare for marriage. Because sometimes we spend years asking Allah, send me the right person. But perhaps another dua should be, Ya Allah, make me ready to treat the right person properly when they come. We ask for someone gentle. We should become gentle. We ask for someone trustworthy. We should become trustworthy. We ask for someone emotionally mature. We should work on our own emotional maturity. We ask for someone who protects the marriage. We should become someone capable of protecting it too. Because Nikah is not two perfect people finally finding each other. It is two imperfect people accepting a serious responsibility and trying to walk through life with mercy, patience, honesty, and taqwa. And this is why someone's preparation matters more than their promises. They may tell you, I want you more than anything. Beautiful, but are they becoming responsible? They may say, I cannot imagine you with anyone else. But are they preparing themselves to become a good spouse? They may tell you, I pray that Allah makes you mine. But are they also praying, Ya Allah, fix what is wrong inside me before I enter someone's life? That second dua says something powerful. Because someone ready for Nikah does not only think about receiving you, they think about being responsible for how they treat you. They do not only imagine the wedding, they think about the mornings after it, the ordinary days, the difficult seasons, the responsibilities, the disagreements, the sacrifices, the years when life may look completely different from what both of you imagined. They understand that marriage is not one beautiful day. It is thousands of ordinary days where character keeps making small choices, to speak kindly or carelessly, to tell the truth or hide it, to forgive or punish, to listen or ignore, to protect trust or break it, to control anger or let anger control them, to remember Allah or follow the ego. Those small choices eventually become the marriage. So maybe the strongest sign that someone is becoming ready for Nikah is not how loudly they tell you, I love you. Maybe it is the quiet seriousness with which they begin preparing themselves to love you correctly. They become more careful, more responsible, more honest, more willing to grow, more willing to correct what is wrong, more conscious that Allah sees what nobody else sees. And slowly, their question changes. It is no longer only, how can I make sure I don't lose this person? It becomes, if Allah gives me this person, how do I make sure I do not become a source of pain, injustice, or distance from him in their life? That is a beautiful kind of fear, not fear of marriage. Fear of mishandling an amana Allah has placed in your hands. So if someone wants you, appreciate the feeling, but do not stop there. Look deeper. Look at their character. Look at their direction. Look at their relationship with responsibility. Look at what happens when they are angry. Look at what they are willing to change. Look at whether their words are slowly becoming actions. And above all, look at whether Allah has a real place in the way they think about marriage. Because someone can fear losing you and still hurt you. Someone can be deeply attracted to you and still be unprepared for you. Someone can dream about marrying you and still have growing to do. But the person becoming ready for Nikah begins understanding something much deeper. Your heart is not simply something for them to win. It is something they may one day be trusted to protect. And when that understanding enters someone's heart, love begins to change. It becomes less about possession, more about responsibility, less about promises, more about preparation, less about, I need you to be mine, and more about, if Allah writes you for me, I want to be someone who treats you in a way that pleases Him. That is when wanting you becomes more than emotion. That is when love begins carrying the weight of Nikah. Maybe the question was never simply, do they want me? Maybe the real question is, are they becoming ready for what they keep asking Allah to give them? Because anyone can miss you. Anyone can fear losing you. Anyone can speak beautifully about a future with you. But Nikah needs more than feelings. It needs character, clarity, responsibility, sacrifice, Taqwa. So do not give your heart only to promises. Watch the direction, watch the actions, watch who they are becoming, and have the courage to ask the same questions about yourself. If Allah has written someone for you, may He bring them to you in a way that protects your deen, honors your heart, and carries barakah into your future. And may He make you both ready for the love you are asking Him for. If this reminder reached you at the right moment, subscribe to Deenpedia and share it with someone who needs to hear this before giving their heart away. Until next time, protect your heart, trust Allah's wisdom, and never confuse being wanted with being ready for Nikah. Ameen.